Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And ready or not, we've got a packed show tonight. We've got our typical On the Horizon section where we talk about what's coming up in the next week. We've got 3 trailers to go over in our On Beat segment. And then, in full spoilers, we've got Ready or Not, which is the movie that we wanted to do a while ago, and then, it just disappeared from a streamer. We'd selected that was going to be our next thing, and then it just disappeared before we did the next podcast before it. But it's settled into Hulu, so it's there now, and we were able to watch it, and so we'll be discussing that as our main topic for full spoilers this week. Finally getting to it. But let's kick things off with On the Horizon.
On the horizon.
On the Horizon is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so, and we're going to start things off with Billy the Kid, which is coming to MGM Plus on Sunday, September 28th. Bob's Burgers and The Simpsons are both returning also on Sunday, September 28th to Fox, and then the next day on Hulu, as well as other Fox animation block shows. So they got 2 other ones, but I think Bob's Burgers and The Simpsons are the only real notable ones. Chad Powers. This is it's based on a spoof that was an ad, I think. And then now they ended up making it as into a series for Hulu. And it's got Glenn Powell, and it's a football comedy about a college football player that gets kicked off his team and joins another team but uses a disguise or something. I don't know, but that's coming on Tuesday, September 30th to Hulu. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles is coming on Tuesday, September 30th to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, Switch, and Switch 2. This is it's just Final Fantasy Tactics with some additional content, right? It's not it's not like Final Fantasy Tactics A2 or whatever those other ones were.
Yeah, it's just the first Final Fantasy Tactics from the PS1.
With just some additional content or something.
With additional content, and they changed a couple things. Yeah, it's not Tactics Advance, it's not Tactics A2 from the DS, although, there's a possibility if this is successful, they could do those games. I would love for them to do those games.
Mm-hmm.
Get the rest of, the Tactics games out there. But, this is a good start. Definitely gonna be getting this. They're fun games.
Play Dirty, which is a new movie with Mark Wahlberg. It's a heist thriller, is coming on Wednesday, October 1st to Amazon Prime. Ghost of Yotei is coming on Thursday, October 2nd to PS5. Super Mario Galaxy plus Super Mario Galaxy 2 is also coming on Thursday, October 2nd to the Switch, and there's going to be a free update for the Switch 2. Monster, the Ed Gein series, which is a limited series, is coming on Friday, October 3rd to Netflix. This is the one that has Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy, and it's part of the Monster franchise, so it's Ryan Murphy. He also did the Jeffrey Dahmer one that was popular with Quicksilver. Coyotes, this is that, we watched the trailer. I don't think we talked about it. It was a very B monster movie type trailer. It had Justin Long in it. Remember, it was about a family and getting attacked by these really bad looking CG coyotes.
Oh yeah.
That's coming on Friday, October 3rd to theaters. Good Boy, which is, have you heard anything about Good Boy?
Oh, that's the horror movie with the dog.
Yeah, it's a horror movie, but it's from the perspective of a dog.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I haven't heard any impressions, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's coming on Friday, October 3rd to theaters as well. And so is The Smashing Machine, which is Dwayne The Rock Johnson's A24 Oscar bait movie, also coming on Friday, October 3rd to theaters. That is our On the Horizon segment, and now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat. This week on On Beat, we've just got 3 trailers to go over. First trailer is for The Chair Company, which is from the creators of I Think You Should Leave.
Yep, Tim Robinson and the other co-creator of I Think You Should Leave. I don't remember the person's name. it's kind of like, oh, this looks like an extended I think you should leave skit. I mean, I say that in a good way because like it looks manic, it looks crazy. I guess Tim Robinson plays like this middle collar employee. I don't know if he's working for a chair company. The trailer's kind of vague about what's going on, but like he senses there's like some conspiracy happening, and he apparently takes it upon himself to investigate it. And nobody around
there's
him
this whole like conspiracy story, but then at the same time, it's just like the weird dynamics of him with other people.
Yes.
Which is very like what you'd see in pretty much anything he's in.
It's the weird dynamics of him with other people because like he's like some weird loser type character and nobody takes him seriously to begin with.
Yeah.
It's like, hard to explain unless you've seen his brand of comedy. I think you would have to fully get it from this trailer.
It's really interesting because he did like, I Think You Can Leave, and that was like the epitome of his style of comedy and kind of got everybody to recognize who he is. And then he did that movie, was it Friendship?
Yeah, Friendship.
Paul Rudd, which kind of took that and added like another element beneath the surface to allow it to be like an actual movie and not just like a sketch. But it still like had that style. And now he's like taken it into a series. So it's like gradually like expanding his skit style comedy into longer formats.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Like I think next he's just going to put out like a novel or something.
Yeah, he's going to put out a novel.
Which is very strange. The next movie we got a trailer for was for The Mandalorian and Grogu. This was famously going to be the new season of The Mandalorian, and then they decided to turn it instead into a movie early on in the process, like in the writing process. They made that decision to shift it into a movie. This also makes it like the first Star Wars movie since what? Solo? Or is it maybe 9? It's been a while since there's been a Star Wars
9.
movie.
Solo came out before 9. So I think it's episode 9.
There were a bunch of Star Wars movies that just got canned that were like long in development, and so it's been a while.
So this would have been The Mandalorian season 4, but it's a movie now. And we don't know, I don't think they've ever been definitive on if there will be more seasons of The Mandalorian after this movie, or if this is just wrapping up that whole thing with this movie.
Not. I think Pedro Pascal's probably getting too expensive at this point.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
That they shifted to doing a movie tells me, like, if there's going to be more Mandalorian, it'll probably be more movies. I think that's, like, the shift they've made now.
Yeah, it's a shift. Yeah, exactly. If there's more stories, they're going to be in film format. And it's like, we got 3 seasons of a TV show. I think that's good enough.
We got 2 good seasons of a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, 3rd season was kind of disappointing.
And a fun Jack Black cameo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel mixed about this. On one sense, it's like the whole idea of just like, oh, we're going to take an idea for a TV season and blow it up to a movie is like, just never feels like it's the right move. But
it's
after season 3 of The Mandalorian kind of dropped off so bad, it's almost like the quality control of having to do it in 2 hours makes it seem like it might be the best move. If you're going to do anything with The Mandalorian, like at this point, maybe it's better to be limited to like a 2-hour film than to like making a full season that you really don't know what to do with.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. There was some really cool, like, robot figures and stuff. There was some really cool, like, mecha-looking robot things towards the end of the trailer.
There's a lot of cool stuff in that trailer. A lot of cool stuff.
Got Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver's coming back. She was in an episode of The Mandalorian, wasn't she already?
I don't know.
Yeah, they got Sigourney Weaver. I mean, it looked like they had like a tournament fight with like a Jabba the Hutt looking character.
They had like buff arms or something.
They had like really buff arms. You had some AT-ATs getting destroyed.
Falling off a cliff.
Looks like it's got a lot of good set pieces. A lot of focus on Baby Grogu, of course, because like that sells merchandise.
Yeah.
As Yogurt said, merchandising.
Yeah, I don't think Sigourney Weaver was in The Mandalorian before.
You know what? Yeah, I think she's new. You're right.
Yeah, but we've known that she's been in this movie since like the movie was first announced.
Yeah.
She was like the first casting that they announced.
That's why I was not phased because like I watched and I was like, yep, there's Sigourney Weaver. I was expecting it.
But that's, Mandalorian and Grogu. I'll probably check it out. I mean,
I'll check it out.
I watched all 3 seasons, you know?
Yeah, I watched all the Mandalorian. I generally enjoyed the Mandalorian, you know, like overall.
I watched the first episode of the House of Boba Fett or whatever, and that was garbage, so I didn't continue.
Yeah, I have
Apparently
not
that just turned into the Mandalorian like halfway through, but I didn't bother watching.
Yeah, the Mandalorian comes into it, and then like Boba Fett loses his own show.
Yeah, so that's The Mandalorian and Grogu. And then we just got a trailer. This came out today, as the day we're recording this, because Sony did their, like, state of play for Tokyo Game Show, and they ended off their show with what people have been waiting for a while, and this is the new game from the developers of Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 Wolverine. People have been waiting for this. The Blade game's, like, canceled, right? That's just, like, done.
No, that has not been canceled.
Okay, so that's still coming too?
That's coming for Xbox.
Okay.
Well, that's published by that's by Bethesda, owned by Microsoft. So that's completely different. We're not going to see that in a state of play unless Microsoft decides to port that to PlayStation.
So we'll probably see it in a state of play.
Probably, yeah. but speaking of, like, I don't know if I should be worried about Blade or not, since Microsoft's out here canceling games left and right, and we haven't heard anything from Blade. When was that announced? Like 2022?
Oh, you know, when I said that I thought Blade was canceled, I just gave away that I'm a time traveler.
Yeah.
It's not canceled yet. Sorry for the spoiler.
Yeah, sorry for the spoiler. It's not canceled yet. Don't worry, Xbox will get around to canceling it.
Yes.
So,
but on the topic of Wolverine.
Yeah, on the topic of Wolverine, yeah. So Sony had their state of play tonight. It was pretty mid, in my opinion. Like, they showed, like, the first game they showed was gameplay of, like, Saros, which was, like, looked amazing. I was like, okay, I'm on board. And then they showed Wolverine at the end, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best game.
Did they show Pragmata, or was that, like, a separate Capcom event?
That was a Capcom event. That was not here.
Because I'm starting to kind of open up to Pragmata. Like, I wasn't into it before, and I'm starting to kind of open up to it. I just hope it comes to Switch, too.
I'm opening up to it, too. Like, what I saw looked good. I have no idea. But anyway, yeah, back to Wolverine. Like, Wolverine looked amazing. The combat looked, like, really bloody and visceral. Like, really gory combat, which I'm like, okay, yeah, it's Wolverine. Wolverine does not hold back. And so, like, that makes sense. There's some brutal stuff in there. And then you got, like, a bunch of fan favorite stuff for the X-Men. Omega Red looks like he's in it. Mystique. Then you got, like, the giant sentinel. I hope you get to fight that.
At the very end, yeah. That looks like a boss set piece kind of thing.
Yeah, it did. It
looks like it's kind of a downed sentinel that's, like, still, like, half operational or something. I think it's probably going to be, like, one of those set piece boss fights where, like, it can't really move. It's, like, stuck in a position, but it's still fighting you, and it's massive, and you have to, like, you know, navigate it as if it's a piece of a set, you know?
Yeah, it's probably like that.
But yeah, I mean, it looks cool.
Leah McIntyre from Spartacus is Wolverine, they announced. So it's coming out in a year, fall 2026. So we got a year before Wolverine is out. I have no doubts that game is going to be the Wolverine game people dreamed about.
So like 2026 on PS5 and then maybe 2027 on PC.
Yeah, and that's about it.
And that's probably about it, yeah. They should be forced to port that to everything because it's a Marvel franchise.
Because it's a Marvel franchise, yeah.
They should be forced to port Spider-Man 2 to Switch 2. But, I don't know. I think it looks cool. Yeah, I definitely, it's got like the right tone and the right feeling. You know, him hanging out in like dingy bars and stuff and wearing tacky cowboy hats and stuff, like just feels very reminiscent of what I remember reading in the comics.
Oh yeah, they nailed it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like just going for this. And it's been a while since we had like the teaser that announced they were making it, so it was nice to finally see the game, a more full picture of the game and see some of the game in action.
Mm-hmm. But that is it for our trailers and our on-beat segment, and that leaves only full spoilers. So this week on Full Spoilers, we are finally getting to Ready or Not. So this is a movie I saw quite a while ago when it came out in theaters. It was several years ago now. And I've routinely used it as like when I talk about modern horror films and how I'm not really that into them. And I say like the two that I've seen that were like really blew me away. Now it's been more since then, but at the time I would say the two that always blew me away were Barbarian and Ready or Not. And now...
And it's funny too because like after watching this movie and stuff, like, yes, there are horror elements. There are like some gory deaths and stuff like that. And there's like, it's a supernatural story and she's a horror situation, but man, it is not really a horror movie because
it's not really scary.
Yeah, it's not scary. It leans like so far into comedy that it's more of a comedy with horror elements to me than straight, like, even like something I would say like is a horror comedy.
I'd still say it's horror just because it does certain things that are just very unsettling. Like, it's unsettling more than scary.
Right.
For example, there's a stretch in the film that's like, it's kind of all grouped together in like one part. Like, it's about 20 minutes. It's like different sequences, but it's all like kind of back to back.
The sequence when she's like in the barn and she falls into like the
yes, that's where it starts.
Yeah, that is that is definitely like
with the hole in her hand.
A horror sequence. Yeah.
And then when she's like pulling herself through the bars of the gate. Cutting herself open, it's like, those are horror. Like, that is horror, you know?
Yes.
It's similar to me to, and this is like a little off topic, but it's very similar to something else I consider. Like, I listen to a lot of metal, but I listen primarily to like progressive metal, the stuff that like plays with all sorts of different genres and stuff like that. And one of the things I always say to people when I'm trying to explain like why I still think some of these bands are metal, even though they might have a whole song that has nothing that you would consider metal in it at all. And I always would say that like, to me, metal is less of like a very specific genre and more like a willingness and a capability to go there. And like there in quotation marks, if you know what I mean, you know? And I think that in the same sense, this is horror because it's got the willingness and the capability of going there, you know?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does go there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
At the same time, the villains in this aren't like particularly like scary or threatening horror villains or like.
I think that's the best things about the movie then.
Yeah. They're bumbling idiots.
They're just like privileged. Like, and the movie opens up with like a scene that's like 30 years before or something. And that was before this was just like the last time that they actually had to go through this ritual where they actually like had to kill somebody and play this game of hide and seek, which we'll get to like explain the plot later. But,
there's like a whole lore behind it. And I do like.
So most of them haven't done this at all. And the ones that have done it, it's been 30 years since they've done it. So they're not like these like, you know, killers that, you know, murder people on a yearly basis or, you know, whatever. They haven't done this in like 30 years.
It's basic. The setup is basically summed up as it's the deal with the devil trope where the devil will give you incredible wealth or whatever, and he only demands an occasional sacrifice once every so often.
Yeah, basically anytime they add somebody to their family, they have to like play a game. And that game doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna be like this situation that's happening in this movie. It'll be like Old Maid or like, you know, just like some random game, you know?
Right, yeah, they have to do the game. It basically decides if they need a sacrifice. And only like the devil decides when he wants a sacrifice. So it's not like every time they do the game.
Yeah. And so when they draw the card, because they draw a card basically, and when the card gets drawn for the game hide and seek, that's the one where they, you know, try to hunt down the person and kill them. Kind of like Most Dangerous Game, you know, the famous book that kind of started that whole kind of trend.
Well, they don't they don't try to hunt down the person and kill them. They try to hunt down the person and maim them so that they can do the ritual.
Eventually kill them, yeah.
Yeah, because they have to kill them doing the ritual in order for the satanic powers to be appeased.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And what they're getting from all of this is just like fantastic wealth. And it's just success. It's just like they keep, every venture they take is successful, basically.
And if they fail to deliver the sacrifice, they all die.
Yes.
That is the deal their grandfather or great-grandfather or whatever made.
With the devil, or as they call him, Mr. LaBelle.
Yeah, Mr. LaBelle. Yeah, again, because the story is, he met a Mr. LaBelle. It was the devil taking human form. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the lore behind, what's happening.
Still going with the lore before we get into, go back to, the particulates of the movie.
Yeah.
There is something that's kind of interesting where they talk about other families. So this family knows other families that have had similar pacts. They reference another one that had gotten wiped out. And they said, oh, I thought that was a fire. And they said, oh, that's what the police wanted you to know or something.
Oh, yeah.
And the implication is these rich people who've made a deal with the devil. They're aware of other families that have done similar things. They're not the only family that's done this.
They know. They probably, talk to each other about their devil deals. That's social events. Who knows?
There is this bit of background lore with that as well.
Yes.
But yeah, so as I mentioned, the movie starts, it's 30 years before the present timeline, and there's a recently married husband, and he's running through the house, and he's got an arrow stuck through him, and he runs into a kid, and he's help me, they're trying to kill me, and the kid rats him out and says he's over there, and then they kill him, or they take him into the room where they're going to kill him, and you see his bride's crying and terrified and doesn't want him to die and stuff. And then later on, that woman turns into, she's the aunt of the family, who's the creepiest member of the family, the most brutal and
who's the
vicious
one that's,
member of the family.
Gung-ho, about the ritual.
Yeah.
She's the one who's most into it.
And so it starts out, it cuts to this woman played by Samara Weaving. Her name's Grace, and she marries her guy who was had been running away from his family, basically. And she's going back to his house to marry, and she wants to, being part of a family is very important to her, and she wants to be married. He doesn't even really, he seems almost hesitant, that he's marrying because she wants to be married. That's kind of his reasoning. You want it so bad, you want a family so bad, so that's why I'm doing it, because otherwise you would leave me. That's what's basically stated, that he's kind of feels uncomfortable being in the situation. She doesn't have any idea what's going on. She just thinks, oh, it's this big wealthy family and they have baggage, I guess, And they get married, they have a few awkward, tense encounters with family members, and then they get brought down to play this game, and she thinks she's just playing regular hide and seek, and she's kind of bored and, sitting in a dumbwaiter, just hiding there and going this is how I spend my wedding night, I guess. She had a comment earlier where she talked to the patriarch of the family, and he's also, there's no way I can win. And he said, oh, well, if you manage to stay hidden till dawn or something. And she's all oh, yeah, right. I'm going to do that or something, she just doesn't even have any real interest in even winning the game. It's just this family tradition. She's going along with it. What she doesn't know is she's hiding in that dumbwaiter as the family's stocking up on rifles and axes and crossbows to go and hunt her down. And meanwhile, her recent husband is going around behind the family's back to kind of plot a means of escape for her. So he's kind of working against his family. And then his older brother seems to be kind of this black sheep of the family or something, and he kind of comes into play as it goes along.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the whole thing.
Yeah, he's not happy with
it's
the
interesting.
family.
They do a kind of a reversal at the end of the movie where for most of the runtime of the movie it's played as in the husband now, because they had the wedding. By the time the movie starts, the husband now is the one who cares, is trying to save his wife. And his brother does not give a shit about anything, is just going along with it. The brother is the one who would rat her out and all that.
And his brother was the one that as a kid ratted out the husband 30 years ago.
Yeah. And then you get to the end of the movie and he's the one that actually saves her from the ritual. And then her husband is the one who rats her out at the end. So it's the opposite of what you were expecting the roles to be.
Yeah, there's an interesting moment where the matriarch of the family, played by Andy McDowell, is talking. This is before the game starts. So she thinks oh, this is my new daughter-in-law and I actually really like her and everything. And she actually does like Grace and wants her to be part of the family and isn't really happy with her other children-in-law.
Right, yeah.
And she's talking to Grace and she said, I hope this marriage is happy for you. And could you just bring, my son back into the fold, into the family? Like, it's really important, and Grace is like, yes, I'll do that. And ironically, Grace, towards the end of the movie, ends up killing the mom who is trying to kill her. But she kind of like loses her composure after, being injured and being chased for so long and being hunted by these people that she like just destroys the mom's head with the box that the card comes from that selects the game.
Yeah,
Smashes
exactly.
her head open and kills her. And it's kind of at that moment that the son does go back into the fold of the family and betrays his wife.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting how they towed that line,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, they had to play it some way where like it would make sense to do.
He lost his brother, the one who actually did help her. He didn't get to really talk to his brother after his brother helped his wife, but it's just like implied, oh, because of her, I've lost my brother and my mother now, and I'm going to lose the rest of my family if I don't turn on her.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So like that's the point. Like he turns against her. So like that was like a really interesting role reversal. Like his brother turned out to be like a good person after all. He turned out to be like the only good one in that family. And then like the whole movie, like there's also the question of, okay, is this whole thing like bullshit? Are these people just like fucking paranoid because their grandfather talked to some weird dude on a boat? Are they just like being freaking eccentric and paranoid? And then you get to the end, because like most of them are still alive at the end. You know, like most of them are still alive at the end.
The help's all dead.
The help's all dead. Yeah, which is like really funny. The help's all dead, but like they're alive at the end. It gets to dawn and they're like, oh shit. And then like nothing happens. And for a moment you're like, okay, yeah, so it was bullshit the whole time. And then they start exploding like spontaneously.
God, I loved it when the sister ran out with her kids. And you just hear like 3 bursts, like pop, pop, pop.
Pop, pop, pop. Also,
Yeah, but like, so they all die except the husband.
Oh, he dies too.
Well, not right away.
Yeah.
Like they all blow up and the husband's
begging
there. He's
her
trying
for forgiveness.
Yeah, he's like begging her forgiveness. He's like, I've been spared because we're married. And then she takes off her wedding ring and throws it at him and he immediately explodes.
Yeah, he explodes. And then Grace sees the devil or like, like in the chair, like a flash of him.
Like nods at her and then, and then the place like just burns down and she's just outside waiting for as like ambulances and fire trucks and police are arriving, That's how the movie ends. Just her smoking a cigarette outside this burning place. But
I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was like a really fun horror comedy romp.
I think part of what made it work so well is like you said, the family is so incompetent, and that's what makes it kind of comical, and I think that's also what makes it work. You have like the brother-in-law, where I loved it when he was like, he misses Grace jumping out the window because he's Googling on his phone, packed with the devil bullshit.
Exactly.
And because of that, he misses like Grace like jumping out the window and like running away or something. You have the sister.
There's one guy like had to like Google, like look up YouTube videos on how to use a crossbow.
Yeah. Then you have the sister, the one that he's married to, and she's just like so incompetent and accidentally kills 2 of the help.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's incompetent. She's also snorting like a lot of crack and taking a lot of drugs the whole time. So like, she's completely
when you meet
useless.
her, she's like all happily introducing herself to Grace,
sniffles.
and she's got like cocaine on like above her lip,
Yeah, she's got like a real bad case of the sniffles. So like, like right away. Yeah.
And then you have the older brother who's alcoholic and doesn't care, who ends up helping Grace at the end. His wife is kind of probably the most the most determined to like stick to this game. She came from nothing and will not go back.
She's cold and distant to her husband, and she's clearly like only there because of the wealth that family gives her.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and out of everyone there, she's
like
like the most like okay about just killing somebody. Like just doesn't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care because she wants to maintain her status. That's all she cares about is like the wealth and the status that she has, and anything that gets in the way, and like she has no qualms about just eliminating it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like probably like one of the most evil people in the movie, to be honest.
Her and the aunt are like probably the most evil, yeah. And the rest are just kind of bumbling idiots.
The rest are incompetent idiots who are like terrified that they're going to like end up dying if they don't do this.
Yeah, just like cowards that are being vicious out of their own cowardice rather than anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
that's pretty much it, I guess. Like, a few things I want to kind of touch on. First off, these guys were kind of new directors when they made this movie. Since then, the writers went on to write Abigail, and also Scream 5 and Scream 6. Well, Scream 5 is just called Scream again.
Yeah.
It's just Scream.
Scream 5.
And 6, which is not out right. That's like coming up.
Were they not involved in Scream 4?
I don't think so. It's 5 and 6 is what I see for them. Is 6 the one that's not out yet, or is it 7 that's not out yet?
No, 6 is the one that, yeah, it was Scream 5 and 6. 7 is the one that's not out yet.
Okay. So they did Scream 5 and 6. I don't think they're attached to 7 anymore.
They are not attached to 7.
I think they initially were, but they're not. Like, there was all sorts of...
Oh, they initially were, yeah, because Scream 7 was going to be a direct continuation of 5 and 6, and now it's not.
There's a bunch of stuff that went down.
Like, Scream 6, Samara Weaving is, like, in the opening scene for Scream 6.
Oh, she's the cold kill?
She's the cold kill for Scream 6, yeah. And she gets killed by, like, the fake Ghostface, who's, like, not the main villain of the movie, even.
But yeah, so you're a big Scream fan. You've watched those Scream movies. Now you've kind of seen the movie that they got their start with. So what did you think kind of in that context?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I really enjoy this movie. Like I said, it is mostly comedy, but like I said, it's horror because it's willing to go there, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is that there is a sequel that's currently being made. It's called Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. And it's supposed to be coming out next year. I think they wrapped filming already. I think they wrapped filming in like June. And it's supposed to pick up like immediately where this movie leaves off, where she's like outside smoking a cigarette and everybody's like the emergency workers are all arriving on the scene. It like picks up like right there apparently. Immediately in the aftermath of this. And it's got like a decent cast. I know like Elijah Wood is in the new one. But yeah, so that sound like something you're going to be interested in? Watch the continuation?
Yeah, sure. If it's well written, if it has a good premise, I have no clue where they could take it from here, but like...
One thing I heard is that the writers and directors said that, or the writers specifically said that they had a set piece that they had in mind for this movie that they didn't end up doing. And they kind of based the new movie off of that set piece. Like that was like something that was really important to them, but they weren't able to do it in the movie. And so they kind of like worked it around that aspect. And they said they actually showed up on set when they were going to film that part of the movie just because they wanted to see it so bad.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So they said there's like it's a good idea that they really like were proud of or something with it. So, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but hopefully that means it's good. And then the other thing is there was originally apparently a different ending for this movie where the family, I guess, survived. I'm not exactly sure how it went down. Like if it turned out that everything was bullshit and they just were alive because of that, or if it was because they ended up killing her at the last minute before dawn. But originally, like, she was supposed to, like, die or something and the family was supposed to survive. It was going to have kind of a nihilistic ending, kind of like that.
Interesting.
You know? Where the worthless morons were able to kind of get through it. It was like a darker, more nihilistic ending.
That would have been
I like darker endings, but I kind of like this more.
I like this ending. I think I would like that too because it was subverted expectations.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like this because there's so much catharsis.
Following her. Yeah, there would be no catharsis, so it would feel like a bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like dark endings, you know, I really do like dark endings, but there's something about that catharsis. It's a very cathartic ending. Just the way they're all just blowing up and panicking as they're, you know, realizing that they're getting what's coming to them, and even just like the nod from the devil to her, you know, like all that kind of works in a way that like I don't think it would have felt satisfying otherwise. But yeah, so that is Ready or Not. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now you just need to see Weapons. We need to wait for Weapons.
Yes.
As soon as that's readily or not available, we're going to have to watch that one as well. Next week, we are going to be doing Alien Earth. So I've still only seen the first episode. Have you watched any more than that yet?
Yeah, I'm 3 episodes into it now, so I'm going to start the 4th episode. So I'm enjoying it so far.
It's 8 episodes total. It's It's Noah Hawley, who did Fargo and Legion. We talked a lot about this as it came up to it, just because both of us were like, what the fuck is Noah Hawley going to do with Alien?
And we are seeing it.
Yeah, so I've only seen the first episode. I liked it. I just haven't really had much opportunity to watch it.
First episode, like, didn't totally sell me on it, but, like, I think, like, I'm more sold on it the more episodes I get into it. So.
The first episode's a lot of setup for the most part.
Yes, it is.
But I liked it still. I didn't stop watching it because I didn't like it. It was just, I didn't have time. But now I'm gonna get into a good routine of watching like an episode a day or something to make sure I've seen the remaining 7 episodes by the time we do the podcast next week. And I'm looking forward to it. And that is going to be our topic for next week. So stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you everybody for listening. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will. He is at Foxel Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.com. If you go to our website and open up a container store for any of the podcast episodes and scroll down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find all the relevant links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, all of our social account stuff. It's all there. You can also subscribe to this podcast through your favorite podcast client of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts, and the entire backlog of this podcast, as well as additional content, is available on our YouTube channel. So check that out as well. Until next week, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.